The Utah Jazz Summer League is over. Let's talk a little bit about just Summer League overall, this game in particular, and what comes next. It's the Hoops Nerd postgame show. All right, guys, like always, like the video, subscribe to the channel. It's the end of Summer League. Now, as we go forward, we enter one of the most exciting periods of Jazz basketball I can remember. I can't think of a time I was more excited than this. I guess maybe obviously those John Stockton and Karl Malone years were fantastic. The Darren Williams era had some moments where it was pretty exciting. I don't know if I ever felt like the Jazz would actually win a title, but I do feel like that's a possibility with this team. Now, maybe not next year, although I do think the Jazz are going to be much better than people think. On SLC Dunk, I wrote about Darren Peterson. Part of that is the FanDuel partnership we have with SLC Dunk, but I just looking at the odds, the FanDuel has the Jazz odds at 50 plus wins at like plus 2,000. Now, I'm not really a gambling person, but if I had a little bit of money, I tell you what, you put $100 down to win $2,000 and for the Jazz to win 50 plus games, to me that feels like easy money, no question. So I honestly cannot wait. Looks like we don't have, I want to make sure this is all working. I don't know if this is connecting right, but let me know. If things aren't working, let me know in the chat, or if they're working, great, but I don't think we're seeing, I hope we're connected. Looks good. All right. Well, anyways, let's talk about this Jazz game, and then let's talk about some of the standouts, and then let's talk about the upcoming season that I think is going to be phenomenal. So one of the disappointing ones, in fact, let's bring me up here. One of the disappointments of Las Vegas Summer Leagues, I still think he's going to be phenomenal, although I think it's a weird trend with all the Jazz players in Summer League, is that we did not see really any of the Jazz players that either played for the team last year or will likely play a lot of minutes next year shoot the ball well in Las Vegas. Blake Hinson tonight goes 3 for 12 from the field, 1 for 9 from 3. He just flat out did not shoot the ball well. And what was crazy about Hinson last season was that he was you could just mark him down for excellent three-point shooting. And in Summer League, it just did not happen. So 3 for 12 from the field tonight, 1 for 9 from 3, 7 points, 3 rebounds, and an assist. I'm just pretty surprised that the three-point shot just never fell for him. So it does make me wonder, were there times or were the Jazz just playing hard practices and just prepping and then not having any legs during the games? Or were they tired? Were they enjoying the festivities of Las Vegas? Or did they buy a Switch 2 and playing Donkey Kong Bonanza? I don't know what was going on, but no one shot the ball well. Of all the guys that will be playing for this Jazz team next year, I don't know. By the way, I bring that up because I got a Switch 2 and I chose the Donkey Kong Bonanza game, and it's pretty great. My son played it today and it looks fun. And I cannot wait for Ocarina of Time. Sounds like November maybe? I don't know. But I cannot wait. Got it for that. Gonna get Star Fox. It's gonna be phenomenal. But anyways, I just thought that was interesting. Like kind of a trend with all the, because Darren Peterson did not shoot the ball particularly well after Salt Lake Summer League, where he looked like Steph Curry, right? And so I don't know. I don't know if it was everyone on the team was tired or what, but it wasn't great. But anyways, we know that he'll shoot the ball well because he did last year. And it's an interesting, I was thinking about it, what Blake Hinson did last year shooting the ball, where he was literally like 50% for the season, near 50% by the end. He was just absolutely flames from the three-point line, and they had to rest him at times just to lose games. That's how good he was shooting the ball. But then in Las Vegas Summer League, he goes 1 for 9. And I I guess what I was thinking is, does this mean that Hinson is just not shooting the ball well? He can't shoot the ball all of a sudden? Or is there something going on with these games or the conditioning or whatever? I kind of just think it's an example of when you're on the floor with better players and you're getting open shots and you have the players around you running the system you want to run, and you find your comfortability or comfort or rhythm, whatever you want to call it, within the system, so you get the shots that you're normally going to take, you knock them down. I do feel like within Summer League, and we saw it especially with Darren Peterson, where there's so much chaos with it. No one, you're playing very, very vanilla stuff, which means a lot of players are kind of doing their own thing, what they know how to do, and they're not as high talent players as your best prospects. So it leads to a lot of chaos. Probably is one of the major reasons that you're seeing these guys not, play particularly well. So I kind of think that's part of it. I wonder if there are a lot of hard training sessions going on. Who knows? But none of them shot it well. So it's interesting. Orlando Robinson was one of the best players for Utah in Las Vegas. He's just kind of a veteran player. He's played for multiple teams. And Utah basically signed him to have a consistent, solid rotation player on the floor to help their team out. And I heard that from Sam Vecini. I think it was either Sam Vecini or it might have been Nikias. But like anyone who says Utah's summer league team wasn't bad is not familiar, because they even mentioned that Utah signed Orlando Robinson late just to make sure they had a squad that could really run some pro style sets and actually compete in these games, so it wasn't a complete disaster. So just a shout out to Orlando Robinson. Hopefully the check was good, and he was honestly good enough that I wouldn't mind seeing him in training camp. We'll see. He's probably is what he is at this point in his career, but he had his moments. Tonight didn't shoot it particularly well because he was taking those threes, but he did have 9 rebounds, 3 assists, and three blocks. So solid outing for Robinson. Tamar Bates, I believe he's one of the two. I can't remember if he's a two-way contract guy or a full contract guy, but 2 for 7 from the field. His shot is interesting. It's kind of that Michael Redd lefty shot, and it wasn't falling very much tonight, although it does look good when he takes it. Like, it looks like he looks like a good shooter to me. We'll see if he sticks with the Jazz long term or what. But Hayden Gray was pretty good, but not a lot to say for him either. I don't know, or let's see, 2 for 5 from the field. He did have 6 assists, which is nice to see. I don't know if he's going to stick, but the one guy outside of like Hinson and, the obvious like Cody Williams, Darren Peterson, and Ace Bailey, who were the guys that, Jazz fans wanted to watch, didn't get to watch them tonight. But the one guy that did play for the Jazz last year that I think I would like to see stick with the team at least another season just to see is Bezim Bang. He was a plus 14 in this. The Jazz starters were not very good. He was plus 14. He handled the ball a lot. He had 4 assists and 4 steals. 4 steals. The 4-time, what is it? He played for Yale, was like the defensive player of the year in the league that the Yale is in. I don't remember what they're called. He's interesting. And, he didn't shoot it well either tonight. No one on the Jazz shot the ball well tonight. By the way, it was like a 1992 score today, 83-79. No one on either team shot the ball well. Everyone's probably tired. But Bezim Bang looked quick out there. His defense is legit. He steals the ball. I really like him. I think he's got a little bit of like a Josh Hart kind of style and play. He's not a rebounder like Josh Hart is. Obviously, 0 rebounds, but he's probably at least a better opportunistic defender with all the steals that he can do. So if he can shoot the ball and handle it kind of like he did tonight, and handle it enough that he can be kind of a secondary ball handler to relieve some pressure, maybe provide some depth during the regular season, I could see him being on the roster, and I wouldn't mind seeing him get some time and maybe make the end of the bench. He's a guy that I've actually come around to really liking. Trey Alexander also, I think I didn't see exactly what, I think he had like a bruised rib or something like that. I don't know exactly, so don't Don't take it for gospel or whatever, but he had some good defensive moments as well. My favorite, just going through the team, we all know what Darren Peterson did. I think he looks phenomenal. I wrote about him on SLC Dunk about the one skill that sets him apart from all the other prospects, and it's basically offense. He can do everything. And we saw it in Salt Lake. We saw the efficiency in Salt Lake, but also just everything he can do. And then in Las Vegas, he showed all the different things he could do as well. And he was trying stuff that he's not always used to doing, which was great to see. He became more of a primary ball handler, point guard, while he was in Las Vegas and Salt Lake City. On that 12 assist night, he can do a lot of things. And the Jazz pushed him to kind of push his game and to grow and learn. And I think the Jazz were doing that with a lot of guys, because these games don't mean anything, but you get something out of them if players are pushing themselves and trying to develop their games and do more things. Like, for example, Blake Hinson wasn't just a catch and shoot 3-point shooter like he was for the Jazz last season. He was driving the ball. They had him doing some things, doing more with the ball in his hands and stuff like that. And there were a few things that looked actually not too bad for him, but for the most part, you kind of got a good idea of what Blake Hinson is. And that is a shooter, and really a catch and shoot 3-point shooter. So Blake Hinson, when he plays for the Jazz next year, if he's on the team, I'm assume so, he is going to sit in the corner and knock down corner threes at like 50%. And that is extremely valuable when you know that those points are there when you move the ball. But having said that, Darren Peterson was doing the same thing. Like I said, I wrote about him on SLC Dunk. What is so exciting about Darren Peterson is just how complete his game is, including the defensive end. He was solid defensively with the steals and blocks. But it's his offensive game that makes him so exciting, and why he can be the hub of, I think, a championship team if he hits his potential. And that's because he can literally do everything. 3-level scorer, but he's more than just elite. Like, within those 3 levels of scoring, he does multiple things. So the first level, at the rim, he can score at the rim. He draws fouls at the rim. He can stop on a dime and just do a floater, right? He can score in every single way you need him to at the rim. He is explosive enough that he will cram it on somebody, right? He can do it all at the rim. Second level, mid-range. He's going to be an absolute weapon there. That is the ground where you can absolutely knock down shots in the playoffs, because they're trying to take away threes and the rim in the modern NBA. If you are a knockdown shooter in the mid-range, look at what SGA has done in Oklahoma City, knocking down that mid-range shot. If Peterson can knock that mid-range shot down like an SGA, Utah has an absolute unguardable prospect, right? And we talked about the floater, his touch. He's got a turnaround. He can stop on a dime at the free throw line, knock it down. He's got just all the tools in his bag, right? And then level 3, he's a great 3-point shooter. He will play off the ball, off of Keontae George, which is the catch and shoot 3, which he'll take those and he will knock those down. In college, he knocked them down at a historic level, and he will do that for the Jazz as well. But it's not just catch and shoot threes off the catch. It's off the bounce as well. If he's running a pick and roll and they go under the screen, he can pull up from 3 and knock it down. He is a movement shooter as well. And I think that's one area where he can develop as a movement shooter, but playing off the ball, that Kyle Korver in movement, pull up from 3 and shoot the ball. He has that ability, or at least in his computer hard drive of what he can do as a player, there is an open slot to improve that in his game. But we've already seen elements of that in his play. If you watched him at Kansas, and you've watched him a little bit, but he's got so much capability to continue to develop, and that's one of them. I have a hard time finding something that's not in his game. And then that's just the scoring. He had 12 assists in his second game in Salt Lake City Summer League and made every pass, pocket pass, corner pass, easy pass, over the top, everything. Taker 610, $2. How would you feel about a first for Miles Turner? I've thought about it. I wouldn't be surprised if something like that happens at some point this year, right? Maybe trade deadline if there's a cheap center. I wanted Common Malawatch, and he's been an absolute monster in Summer League, so told you. But we'll see how good he is come regular season. But I knew Common Malawatch was going to be good. That was the easiest, most obvious thing. But I guess it is too bad. But someone like Miles Turner, if you can get him for relatively cheap, and you can package some prospects and maybe one of your lesser firsts or even one of your swaps, maybe he'd be the Jazz would probably like him because he could be a floor spreading 5 that can shoot the 3, and he's actually got good, like, he's a good block, like a blocks guy, and I don't know what his rim protection numbers off the top of my head, but they're pretty solid. I mean, he's been in like the defensive player of the year discussion in the past. It hasn't won it, but he's been a solid defensive player. So, and if he's the 5th option for Utah and just takes the occasional 3 and spreads the floor, and I think he probably could pass the ball a little bit from the top of the key. Why not? He's a little expensive. In fact, by the way, thank you for the $2. I really appreciate it. I'm going to just look it up. Miles Turner contract. And that's really what it comes down to. 4-year, $108 million contract. That's 26, 27, 29, 15% trade kicker. And let's just, what does the trade kicker do? A trade kicker is a contractual clause that pays a player a financial bonus if they are traded to another team. So that's to try to keep him from getting traded. But, if you think he can, if let's say Utah is like first or second in the standings, and you can get Miles Turner for relatively cheap, and you're like, you know what, why not go for it? Maybe, Utah's in a winning window now. And so if they have an opportunity to sign someone like that and really take this team over the top, why not? Without giving up too many future assets, I think that would be something definitely to think about for sure. It just kind of, the cop-out answer is it kind of depends on what they're asking, but maybe. But anyways, Darren Peterson, he can play make, he can make every pass, he shoots the ball, he just does everything on offense. And I just wrote about that. Like, AJ DeBonsa is going to be awesome with Washington, but he shot 9% from 3. When I was courtside watching him against BYU and all the games that I did watch him, his shot does look flat for DeBonsa. It just does. And it was especially flat against Utah. Utah dang near won that game, and the U of U is a bad team. I mean, they were playing their absolute hearts out in that rivalry, but I mean, DeBonsa's shot was flat, and it looks flat again to me. So we'll see. Peterson gets the edge there where he can just shoot the 3. He doesn't have an issue with that. Like, conditioning is going to be a big deal for him this offseason. He's just got to get in peak shape as much as he can so that when you're in the game, it's kind of, he mentions Kobe a lot. And that was one of the big things about Kobe Bryant was just the fanatical level of dedication to just being fit and ready so that when, it's the end of the 4th quarter and you've got to take the shot, you're not exhausted. You're just ready to go. And if he can do that and can, be in Utah, can he be the purple mamba for the Utah Jazz? And at the end of games, if he's got his legs and can knock down shots without being tired, I mean, that makes him just lethal, like Kobe Bryant was, right? When you compare him to Cam Boozer, Cam Boozer's probably been the most consistent player in Summer League and kind of did what I think everyone probably expected him to do. I don't think Cam Boozer has the explosive scoring upside that Peterson does. Peterson can have the ball in his hands at all times and run everything. And yes, Cam Boozer can run more than you expect, but I do have a hard time seeing him do some of the things he did in college in the NBA. He'll have games where he'll do his little hook shot, which he just it's kind of one of his default go-tos. There's going to be a lot of games where it won't be there, and you'll see him get like 14 points, kind of like in Salt Lake City Summer League, where he has like a 14-point game. It's fine. Doesn't mean it's bad. He's going to be efficient regardless. It's just Darren Peterson has much more explosive upside with his scoring. You compare him to Caleb Wilson. Caleb Wilson was much better in summer league so far than I think people expected. His shot looks better, and so Caleb Wilson might be a little bit more Paul George than we thought. That said, he doesn't have the playmaking that Peterson has shown, right? Like, just not even close. Peterson can set up his teammates in ways that Caleb Wilson hasn't shown. And honestly, on the defensive side, I think Peterson's been about as good as advertised, and stealing the ball, blocking shots. He's done a pretty good job staying in front of his man. Not perfect, but pretty good. And so I'm pretty darn excited. And then is that everyone that we're compared to? Yeah, of all the top 4 picks. So he has been fantastic and has the edge on the offensive end, whether it's shooting, playmaking, scoring, it doesn't matter. He can do it all. Ace Bailey, just we didn't get to see him a lot, but man, in that short little amount of time, we saw the glimpses of even more improved defense. He's stronger, obviously. The physical level is getting even better, which is scary when you see how big he is and how fluid of an athlete he is. He could be such a weapon. And if him and Darren Peterson just improve together, Keontae George continues to improve, then this Jazz team becomes something very special. And Ace Bailey is going to be one to watch this season because how good he plays could really force Utah's hand in certain things. The good news for Utah is they don't have to make a trade, but there's going to be a point where Ace Bailey might be so good that Utah's like, maybe we can clear the deck even more and we run with this young core and just let them develop together, and then we add pieces as needed. So we'll see. But Ace Bailey is going to be fantastic. I have no doubt that he's going to get paid and he's going to get tons of minutes. And I think he has a chance to really work his way into the starting unit. And, someone's going to have to come off the bench. And if Ace Bailey puts Lauri Markkanen off the bench, that's an incredible decision to have to make, because that means Ace Bailey's playing out of his mind. And there's worse things than someone like Lauri Markkanen coming off the bench. That's not how the season's going to start. Lauri Markkanen's starting for sure. But if Ace Bailey can defend like he showed in that little amount of time we saw, and in the defensive glimpses we saw last season, and then you combine that if he's shooting the ball well, which he showed that he could shoot the ball well, if he's shooting it even better than last season, then holy smokes, does he become a weapon. And then if he can handle the ball better, then it takes him into even another level. So it's going to be exciting to watch and see how this season goes just from those two. Cody Williams really struggled in Las Vegas. He played from what we saw in Salt Lake, he played pretty well. Had a few stinkers, but overall I felt like he played well in Salt Lake. But Las Vegas was pretty bad. I don't know what to expect there. I would not move on from Cody. I would probably give him a lower end contract and just continue to try to develop him, because the signs are there of a good player. It's just sometimes, man, like there are times where it's just like, why was this so bad? And then there's times where he'll do great things like the dunks. He'll hit corner threes. He'll defend pretty well. Although that was the scariest thing to me, if you're a Cody Williams fan, is he was getting blown by everyone. And I know AJ DeBonsa is something else, and so you can't take too much from that, because AJ DeBonsa is going to do that a lot to everyone. But it was pretty rough. And it wasn't just DeBonsa. He was getting kind of blown by a lot of guys. And so I'm not quite sure what to think. I will say I'm a little worried, and I know it's just summer league, but I would hope that he would be able to keep guys in front of him, even, especially summer league guys, right? No one expects you to be Tony Allen, I guess, but you'd kind of hope that he was leaning towards that, So that was disappointing. We'll see. I wouldn't give up on him. The physical tools are very good, and he's shown signs of improvement. He's shown improvement. And so, some guys take longer than others, and it might be just worth it to keep developing him. I'd rather invest more time in Cody Williams than just go after like a G League player, right? Like a lot of times when you're doing that, you're getting a guy that you kind of just know what they are. Cody Williams still has upside, right? And you're just hoping that he can continue to get better and improve, because there's a world where he's a good ball handler that defends well, that can hit threes at a decent rate, and that's a nice player that fits a lot of what the Jazz need with size, length, athleticism, and multi-skilled while you're on the floor. So that's probably good for today, guys, because I want to keep doing these shows, and the goal is to do them every day. I haven't been very good the last week. I apologize. But we're going to keep doing this and keep talking. We'll have videos. Let me know in the comments what you wanted me to talk about, and I may do that. Let's play the music and give a shout out to the All-Stars and close out Summer League, which was honestly a lot of fun this year. So let's see. And thank you, by the way, to all the members and all the All-Stars. As always, you are super appreciated, and it makes a huge difference. Here, let's turn this down a bit so it's not too loud. All right, let's give a shout out to the All-Stars. We got to pull them up here. Whoops. Let's pull them up. All right, let's give a shout out to MMT Marxist, Sharing is Caring, Joshua Hansen, the Danish Destroyer, Ryan Perry, the Legend, his name means king, see ya, Lexa later, Bruce is the truth, F9249, Ball So Hard, Ball Stat, Jace the Ace, Garner, Steve Areno, Stu Sir, Let Him Cook Sturdy Pots, Jordan the Goat, Besserell, Christian House Money to Haas, Arcs Poetica, Robert Hall of Fame, Austin R. Grant, Editor Extraordinaire, Karen for Darren, the OG, and Patrick Akubo, the Connoisseur. Guys, like the video, subscribe to the channel. Thank you for joining. Thank you for the donation, Taker 610. I appreciate it. Guys, it's the official summer doldrums, but we're going to keep talking.